Hey, yo, what's happening? My name is Ronald Two Legs. Welcome back to the AIW. The card is going to change. As I said, my name is Ronald Two Legs. As always, here with AIW owner John Thorne. What's up, Thorne?
I'm here. Hello.
I want to thank our sponsor real quick, The Exchange. I don't know when the last time you were in Exchange was, but that place got pretty much everything you're looking for. Movies, DVDs, CDs, records, video games, collectibles, pretty much collectibles of any kind. Am I right, Thorne?
Yeah, I was in there around Christmas time. I went in there, and they got all kinds of stuff. They have wrestling figures, like weird, like horror memorabilia figures, video game systems. I saw that they're running, like, they got a bunch of N64s in at the Parma location this week. They're trying to flip. So yeah, all kinds of. I mean, it's not like, when we were younger, it was just like a place you went and bought like used CDs. Like Now it's like they got everything in there.
They got like, excuse me, they got like equipment in there, like say you're trying to
like
do like
sound equipment, all kinds of stuff.
Yeah, they got used stuff like that too. So hey, if you're looking for something like that, you're starting a new project or you're looking to get into something, they have stuff like that for much cheaper than you would get, brand new. They got a lot of stuff like that. Like you said, a lot of the horror memorabilia in there, and the action figures and all that stuff is crazy. It's like one of those stores you have to look top to bottom from the ceiling to the floor because there's just so much product everywhere.
Oh yeah, dude, it's unbelievable. Like, it just rows and rows and rows and rows of stuff.
Yeah. So definitely check out The Exchange. We thank them. If you're looking to do any type of sponsorship or anything like that with AIW, contact Jim at AI Wrestling. I believe is that his email?
Yeah, Jim at AIWrestling.com.
Jim at AI Wrestling. He'll help you out and get working with you on any type of sponsorship. If you have a brand or anything like that, a store, a restaurant, anything you want to do, any type of sponsorship, we have plenty of options for that. What's going on, Thorne? I know last time we talked last week after the doom and gloom. What, on a hard sell Monday here for Gauntlet?
Yeah, we're still dooming and glooming a little bit. I mean, tickets are selling okay. I wouldn't say that they're great for this weekend, but I mean, we still have several days. The first and fourth row are sold out. We still got some second and third row right now, and quite a bit of GA floating around currently. But if we could sell the rest of those premium tickets, I'll feel a little bit more comfortable heading into Saturday.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of GA space at Forest Sports, but me personally, I'm a sit-down guy. I like to have a seat. So if you're a sit-down person, you definitely want to get those tickets now, because that's something I would definitely think will sell out, before the door.
Yeah, so it's like, let me look. I'll look. We have 20 second row tickets and 10 third row tickets available. So
not many.
That's where we're at right now. So if we can move those 30 tickets, I'll feel a little bit more comfortable. It's certainly not the Hell on Earth from 2 years ago levels of a draw for the Four Sports just yet, but we're about I don't know, a little under halfway there. So I mean, still a big mountain to climb, so to speak.
Okay, I feel like we have been getting a lot of walk-up lately, like as opposed to pre-show or pre-sale tickets as opposed to how many people show up walk-up. I just feel like we've been getting a lot of people been waiting around. I don't know if it's lack of funds or what, but
that's just prior to the pandemic, Cleveland was known as a quote-unquote a walk-up town, and that's for any form of entertainment. Be it, music shows, comedy shows, sports games, everything. Cleveland was infamously known as a walk-up town. There were times where, like, those Mount Carmel shows, which were always packed. Like, if we had 40 pre-sold, we're like, oh, we're going to draw real good. You know what I mean? Like, but through the pandemic, a lot of things have, kind of flipped, because you came with limited tickets or, all kinds of, the pandemic kind of changed people's mentality a little bit, and we've been seeing more, now we've gotten accustomed to, like, the pre-sale tickets. You know what I mean? And
Sure.
now it's kind of like we're at this like weird middle ground, and now it's too hard to call, right? Like, everyone was saying Cybernetico, oh, we're gonna see a huge walk up, and we didn't. You know what I mean? So like the pre-sale makes me feel a little bit more comfortable. When we have a solid pre-sale number.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say it's super solid for Saturday yet, but we're getting close to where I'll feel at least not like I want to, ram my head into a wall.
Yeah, please don't do that. We don't need it. We don't need anyone ramming their head into the wall. So if you are out there on the fence, definitely want to get those tickets. Like we said, about 30 of the premium tickets, seating wise, as far as that goes. Plenty of general admission, but you definitely want to get a seat for this show. Getting into the card a little bit, I know this is a hard sell of a show. I don't see why we should have to hard sell it. For me, Gauntlet is one of, if I just say, Gauntlet is one of my all-time favorite shows for AIW. We do a couple, the Big Four, Big Five we do every year. But for me, Gauntlet is one that is just a wrestling fan in general. That's just a match you want to be there for. There's so many things that could happen. You can allegedly you can put a little wager down with your buddies. Draw some numbers, see what number you get.
Not with the buddies, with the front with Pedro. There'll be a little. We'll call it a raffle going.
Right. So I was trying to tiptoe around that, and yeah. So we're gonna do a raffle. There will be a gauntlet for the raffle.
Gauntlet for the cash raffle.
Gauntlet for the cash raffle. Charity raffle. So definitely see Pedro at the door when you come in, because that, to me, that's worth the show right there. I love stuff like that. Personally.
I mean, it makes it makes the show interactive. It makes everybody excited for the last match of the night. It's exciting. I will say, you know what I mean? Like, we did have to get together and, kind of pull an emergency session with, all the injuries that have arose, you know what I mean, over the last month and a half, so we were kind of forced to get together over this weekend and, call those audibles and make all those changes. But, that's what is exciting, because it kind of forces me to get a little bit more creative, because, anybody can win the gauntlet. You know what I mean? Anybody that wins the gauntlet, they're automatically, they're a major player in the company. So, like I said kind of last week, we are, looking at building towards the future. And I think that this show is really going to solidify that. And, having to get together and kind of not totally rebook it, but reassess certain things that were going to happen in the gauntlet that are now off the table based on all the injuries. That is where I think we thrive, is, in that audible kind of, you gotta fix the problem, or whatever you want to call it. I think AIW thrives in that sort of environment with that sort of pressure. So I think that we've come up with a really good gauntlet to end the night on Saturday.
Very exciting.
I will say, Fight is really kind of pushing like Abdul the Butcher might be in it, and I don't think that's happening. I don't know why they went with that.
They're tiptoeing the line. I think
they're tiptoeing the promotional lines as well. I mean, they were on the general graphic that I sent them, but nowhere on the lineup of who will be participating. But I guess everyone wants to hold out a little bit of hope that Zbyszko and Abdul the Butcher will enter the gauntlet, which, hey, maybe that's a conversation I have. I think it's highly unlikely, but, Fight is certainly holding out hope, it looks like.
Never say never, I guess, is what you're trying to say.
We'll see, but I guess, we should probably talk about that. We do have 2 meet and greets on Saturday, Abdul the Butcher, which is super, super rare. Been a very interesting experience this whole time. Some people have... said like, I don't know, like, do you even want to go down that road? And I said, listen, it's either going to go really good or really bad. But either way, I feel like come next week, we are going to have several stories to tell, whether went well or it went terribly off the rails. I think it will make for good stories nonetheless. So I bit the bullet, you know what I mean? It was a little higher fee than I anticipated, and all kinds of, he's 80 years old, you know what I mean? Like,
right.
I felt like it's, it's kind of now or never to pull the trigger on that. You don't know how long these guys are going to travel and continue to do signings. So, I had reached out before and I had a number, and, I just decided to go for it because we were working on a few things prior to landing on Abdul and Zabisco that were, would have been major and probably a huge investment. So once I locked him down, I hadn't really locked him down, and I had reached out to a couple people, and Larry Zabisco was somebody that I texted, and he called me right after I locked Abdul down, and then I ended up talking to him on the phone for a while, and I went, well, you know what, like we were probably gonna throw this much down for what we were trying to do originally, so I was like, well, maybe these two guys will help kind of push us, push the attendance, because they're both super rare signing guys, especially in this area. So I figured, what the hell, they're both, old, up there in age. So you just never know when people are going to stop doing these signings. So I kind of like, I like to only really do one meet and greet type person, but, we have the space in 4 Sports, so I figured, what the hell, we might as well give it a shot.
Yeah. Speaking on the, the meet and greet, I know we'd usually do questions kind of after, but a couple people had asked about this, so I guess we'll just get into it now. Are you going to will you be able to post the pictures, the options, like the 8x10 options for Larry Zabisco and Abdullah prior to the show at all? Do you think maybe
I'm going to try to
put some?
I'm going to try to put some stuff up on Patreon. I just can't. So like I have a bunch. I just can't remember exactly which ones I ordered. So there may be, like one or two that are maybe uploaded to Patreon that didn't end up making the final cut because I can't go back and see, after I place the order. But yeah, I can give everybody a pretty general idea of what we're going to have. Okay.
Jose wanted to know, do you do for pricing for that too? Is it going to be pretty typical to what it normally is? Do you have pricing set for that?
I don't know the exact pricing right now, but it's going to be in the, I would imagine, in the what people are used to. You know what I mean? It's not going to be crazy.
Okay. And then I guess last question.
But you will have to prepare for 2. You know what I mean? So.
Right. It's not going to be like a you're probably not going to offer like both option. To get everybody something like that.
Right.
Third question, I guess, on the meet and greet. Several people asked if Mayo Yamashita will have any meet and greet for her.
I'm trying to. We discussed it, but there's like third party. You know what I mean? There's a lot of red tape when you're booking the Japanese talent. So I did get some stuff made, but that's probably going to be like have a discussion that day sort of thing. But, because I don't know, sometimes people bring their own merch. Like, it's all kind of, everybody's a little different. So I'm not going to assume that we can do it without having that for sure conversation in advance on Saturday. I did mention it, and she did say that she was open to it, but I don't know if that meant that she's going to do it. We're going to do it. You know what I mean? So I did get a limited amount of 8x10s made of her, and you know what I mean? She doesn't do it. She doesn't do it, So I'm not going to 100% say she's going to do it, but we are trying to work it out.
Okay. Getting into this card a little bit, we do have a pre-show match. 2 guys that I'm very excited for. We saw a lot out of these guys recently, especially in the last show, if you weren't there. We got Austin James taking on Vic Vice in a pre-show match. I got to think this is just because these guys have just shown you a lot in these past few shows. It's the way you get on the card. You step up and make things happen, and I feel like both of these guys have done that, and here you go. You see them getting a pre-show match.
Absolutely, and, it's just one of those things to where we're going to have the time while the meet and greets are going on. So, throw them a bone. Obviously, like I said last week, their coaches and trainers at the school are advocating for both of those guys. So, it just seemed like this was, if we were going to do one, give them the opportunity to, there's only going to be one, pre-show match. So they'll have a little bit of time to, go out there and tear it up a little bit. And hopefully, they continue to gain new fans from the people in attendance. You know what I mean? Does that make sense?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Absolutely. Looking at the card, it's honestly hard to even say I don't even know what order we're going to do these because there's so many that are just, they're great. But speaking back, Mayu Yamashita versus Jocelyn, this is going to be a match that has plenty of potential. You got, Jossie taking on an international star coming over here, Jossie gets to take on a big name, big talent. And I think this is a great spot for her.
Like we've been saying, like last week we said, Jocelyn was the measuring stick. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
She now, one show later, the roles have flipped. You know what I mean? And she is, the underdog, so to speak, in this situation. Very, very well traveled, international superstar. Coming to Cleveland for the first time, so well decorated as well. So it's just kind of interesting how wrestling works like that. You know what I mean? Like you can go all this time, and you are the cornerstone, the measuring stick as far as female professional wrestling. In this area, and then boom, like just like that, you're fighting from underneath, and you're the underdog in a situation.
Jossie, though, has got to be excited for an opportunity like this because I think she's the type of person who is going to take this, obviously, and learn, take out, eat up every bit of this and learn from it and use that going forward in AIW, as best as she can. I think this is going to be a good one.
Yeah, absolutely. I think this is, certainly she doesn't get tested that often anymore. You know what I mean? So I think she's certainly going to rise to the occasion. And at the very least, there's a lot for her to learn because, somebody of the caliber of Miyu is, she's coming in and she doesn't want to lose. You know what I mean? Like she has a reputation, world traveled star. So there's a there's a lot on the line, I think, for both of them here.
Right. Moving forward, we got a title shot here, tag title shot, newly crowned champs, Money Shot, taking on my guys, members only, getting a shot at the titles here. Is this their second title shot? Didn't they get a shot from To Infinity and Beyond? Or am I mistaken?
I know that they probably have had one before.
I think so.
This is kind of this is one of those things to where it was like, hey, you know what I mean? Like all that wasn't supposed to happen, and they were slotted in to get a tag title shot here. Everything kind of fell apart. You know what I mean? So like this one isn't one that. You just got to kind of roll with the punches on this one, unfortunately, because, we wanted to give them a big match, and, they have, if you look back at matches from Four Sports in the past, there were Bitcoin Boys and members only interactions, you know what I mean? Like the Jeff Jarrett thing and all that other stuff. Like there was a reason to, we had a story to kind of bring this full circle to give members only a tag title shot in this building. It's kind of, this is their home base building. They're, you know what I mean? Like, especially Malcolm Cambridge is like from like that area, so like right there. So there was a whole, You know what I mean? Like they were already slotted. They already
basically, if you're saying if you only ever watched AIW at 4 Sports, you would see Bitcoin versus members only, and you'd say, yeah, okay, I know, I've seen a bit of this story. I know where this is kind of going. You have a bit of an idea in this building, especially.
And, Chase was going to make video. Chase was going to make video. You know what I mean? Like Chase was going to make it all make sense with videos and promos, and we're in the situation that we're in, and I don't want to take away, the big tag title shot from those guys. You know what I mean?
Well, to me, there is a bit of history though with Money Shot. They've went through them. They've been in matches 4-way, four match tags.
No, I know that, but what I'm saying is it would have. We had a different. It would have made more sense.
Oh yeah.
Prior to the injury, but this was already in place. Like I told them that they were booked. They were in a big tag title match. Mm-hmm. So we just gotta roll with it. I wish I could sit here and try to sell it more, but that's just the nature of the situation we're in.
For them, I guess my point was, for them, it's like, at least this is somebody, they're still getting that shot, but at least it's somebody that, like I said, they have this history with them. There's definitely been a back and forth on social media and stuff like that. They know Money Shot better than any other tag team, as opposed, if it wasn't Bitcoin, I feel like this is a good, they're getting something for it, and they're not just getting thrown at whoever out there. I do think there is history with this match, which I think is going to turn into, a very good tag match, because these guys have seen each other before. So I think there is definitely history and a bit of a grudge there. There's some stuff going back and forth. So it should be very good, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, sorry, I'm responding to a tweet where a guy is like thinking that Abdullah and Larry Zbyszko are wrestling and talking about they're 153 years old combined.
As that guy's looking at the fight graphics then, huh? He's under the same impression that Fight TV's under.
That's what he's responding to. But no, I mean, I see what you're saying. I see what you're saying. It's just from my perspective, I didn't want to take away the opportunity for those guys.
Oh, yeah.
They were already told well in advance. You know what I mean? They had, their people coming out on Saturday. So it's not exactly the story that, we were shooting for, but, you just got to kind of roll with it and, get to the next thing. That's what we're doing.
To me, I don't think members only cares who it is, as long as they're going home with that gold. That's all that members only is worried about, as far as I know, and I'm concerned. And I know Money Shot, I'm sure they're ready and they're up for the task. That's two guys that have came into AIW and had a bit of the chip on their shoulder the whole time. And now that they got these belts, I feel like they're gonna talk the talk and walk the walk. There's two guys that can make it happen in AIW, and I'm excited to see where they go as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm looking forward. I'm looking forward to it. Like I said, these audible situations, I think we really do thrive, and our best foot comes forward when the pressure is on, and we're forced to make all these changes. So I don't think these guys, all 4 of them, I don't think they're gonna. They're not going to phone it in. They're certainly going to want to rise to the occasion and prove everybody wrong. Like, hey, this wasn't the plan, but it's the plan now, and it was better. That's my hope, at least.
Right. Yeah, I agree with that very much. Moving forward, a match that we just saw, and they're going to run it back again. If you missed it, which some people did at Cybernetico, you're going to want to be there for the Tom Lawler, Joshua Bishop, Spin the Wheel, Make the Deal match, because man, Bone Job and the Intense Icon really showed out during that match the last time, and I can't wait to see what they do for this one, because it's going to be 8 new stipulations.
The replay streaming now on Fight Plus, little plug.
Please go and watch that, because if you're on the fence, you will immediately buy a ticket for Gauntlet, because they're going to run this back. That match was so incredible that you got to see him do it again. How can they top it? I have to find out, and I just feel like
I almost wonder. Like the cynic in me goes, I don't know. Should we do it again? You know what I mean? That was like lightning in a bottle, and it was like, like it was a shining light on what to that point was a a very bad day. You know what I
Yes.
mean? So I just wonder, like, did we just like it too much? Were we just entertained? Should we do it again? Like, I'm getting a little cold feet on it. Please respond to me or AIW on Twitter and sound off, if you will. Let me know if you think this is a good idea or a bad idea, because I'm getting a little cold feet on it, if I'm being honest.
At AI Wrestling, let Thorne know. Or, hey, tweet at him what stipulations you want to see. If you got a good idea, a stipulation you want to see him try, hit us with your stipulations. Hit Thorne with your thoughts on the spin the wheel, make the deal. I can't wait. I think there's no way that this could be bad. And even if it, God forbid, somehow is bad, those two, in my opinion, will make it entertaining bad, if that makes any sense at all.
Sound off on social media. Let me know.
Get at John Thorne at AI Wrestling on Twitter.
Because I'm a little. I don't know. Today I was just a little. I'm feeling a little indifferent about it.
Well, I don't know what much more can be said about that. Like I said, hit John Thorne on Twitter. Let him know. Sound off. Let him know your feelings. God forbid enough people tell you don't do it. Maybe Thorne will pull it and make it a something else kind of match. I don't know.
Just make it a regular old match.
Next on the card, we got Dom, the Bone Collector Guarini versus Kaplan. Now, this is another match that, similar to some recent matches that Dom has had. This is going to be as advertised, I think. But this is two guys that you say, as advertised, I'm buying a ticket to that, because Dom has been on an absolute tear in 2022. I think he has been lights out. Everything he's done has been great. He's taken on all comers and handled them. And now he's going to get AIW's blue-collar brawler Kaplan, who is just an absolute force to be reckoned with. He wasn't on the last show. He was just there as a jerky salesman.
Yeah, jerky salesman.
It was incredible, by the way. Everyone just talking up the jerky. You got to love that. But this one is going to be one that is going to be... you want to see two guys beat the shit out of each other. I'm telling you right now. Like we've said before, Kaplan comes through the curtain like he's been in a car accident literally every time. Dom,
afterwards,
coming through the curtain, right? Yes, comes through the curtain looking like he's.
I don't even think you can compare the two. Like it's Dom is like a. He's too disciplined and precise. You know what I mean? Kaplan has just no regard at all for safety.
Yes.
For himself or others. Right. So I don't know if you can make that comparison, really. Like, it's two kind of different things. And, I know that we've made this comparison in the past in matches, but this is, like, very, like, UFC 1 to me. You know what I mean? Like,
yes.
We're just going to see what happens. And it's, two completely different disciplines and styles. And I know that they've probably been in the ring at some point in AIW, but I think it's been several years. Somebody can correct me on that. I don't have the history books in front of me, nor do I have history books. I usually have to ask Matt Wadsworth.
That's Wadsworth, right.
But yeah, you gotta this one. I know Dom's been calling out all comers and this and that. But I kept coming back to this one, and I'm not trying to shit talk him a little bit, but he was kind of trying to dodge Kaplan. You know what I mean? When I said, hey, I think you and Kaplan looks pretty good. He's like, oh, what about something else? You know what I mean? Like, what if I just wrestled a student or something? And I said, well, I don't know, man. I think you and Kaplan looks pretty good on paper. And he's like, what if I wrestled Vic Vice or Austin James and I said, I don't know. I think Kaplan. I think it's going to be Kaplan. This is a big show. So I'm not saying he was. He may be a little nervous, but I think he's a little nervous to get in there with Kaplan. So I guess I am saying he's a little nervous.
I'm interested to see what Dom's response to that will be, kind of in ring, because I think we'll see. Dom's not much for talking. I think his response will definitely be, in the ring for sure.
Well, it's like signing up to go. It's like, hey, man, like, let's go out Saturday night and purposely crash the car into a wall. You know what I mean? Like, so I think, like, that's probably where the hesitation's at, because it's like,
sure,
who goes like, hey, you know what? We're going to go fucking crash the car off a cliff on purpose and, see how we feel afterwards. Like, that's essentially what a match with Kaplan's like. That's essentially what a match with Kaplan's like. I think that's the only way that you can describe it. So, that's probably where Dom's hesitation was at. Because, you're signing up for a real rough Saturday night. And I mean, you also have the Gauntlet later on.
Right. Yeah, because some of these people could definitely, just because there's a match on the card doesn't mean you're not going to see them come through the curtain for the Gauntlet match. That is a very good point.
Right.
There's a lot of names, you look at some of this stuff and you think, oh, well, they got a match. That doesn't matter. Anybody can come through that curtain.
Right. Anybody but Matt Cardona or Sam Holloway, whoever the champion is after that match, anybody else is eligible except for the absolute champion.
Right. Moving forward, we got, speaking of championship match, we got Derek Dillinger, the Intense title holder, versus Shaw Mason, a guy who's been moving up the ranks of AIW very quickly.
I had some people ask me, how did we arrive at this match? And you got to go back and you have to watch the Cybernetico. Shaw Mason put Derek Dillinger out of the Cybernetico. He eliminated him, pinned him. So, I thought that justified a title shot.
I also think that, he didn't win that match, but his team won that match, and not to say that the Intense title is a, lower title or anything that, second fiddle or whatever, because Dillinger doesn't play second fiddle to anyone, the top star in AIW. I agree with you in the sense that you have to give him something. He needs a shot after that, after the way he's risen in AIW, and also after his performance in Cybernetico. I think you kind of have to give him a title shot.
But I mean,
obviously,
people nobody has pinned Derek Dillinger in AIW. You know what I mean? In almost a year. So to me, I thought that justifies a straight up one-on-one title shot for him. And it's a big opportunity. You know what I mean? Like I said, I'm going to say it this whole podcast and podcasts after this. We're building towards the future. You know what I mean? And the only way that people are going to buy what we're selling and these people coming out of the academy is to put them in big situations and have them deliver in big situations.
I think Shaw, as a person who has, so far in every situation you've put him in, he has shown out and shown what he can do. And like I said, especially you saying he's the one who puts out Derek in the Cybernetico match. Derek isn't going to let that just sit. He's going to have something for him, because as you said, he hasn't been pinned in AIW in almost over a year. This match is going to be this could be a sleeper match. It's a belt match, obviously a title match, so you can't really call it a sleeper. But to me, I think this is going to be one that could be easily best match.
No, I know what you're saying. That there's, if you look at the card as a whole, you know what I mean? I don't know if, a lot of people probably don't even know who Shaw Mason is, or, people don't have expectations of it. But you got to look across these title matches. It is youth. You know what I mean? Like, there is a lot of youth, Shaw Mason is, I believe, 21 years old, just turned 21 years old. Sam Holloway, 22 years old. Members only, early 20s. I don't know the exact ages, but I know that they're very young. You know what I mean? There is a lot of youth getting a lot of big opportunities this Saturday, and they are all products of the AIW Academy, and they can all be walking out as champions on Saturday night, which I think, if I was a fan, which I am a fan, or else I wouldn't even do this fucking shit. There's a lot of interesting kind of, subplots that can unfold on Saturday.
Absolutely. Moving forward to the other title match we got, we just said Matt Cardona taking on Big Sam Holloway. Another match that, to me, maybe a lot of people don't know Sam outside of AIW. Or you coming into this thinking,
Rightfully so. I mean, he hasn't even been wrestling for a year. Neither has Shaw Mason. You know what I mean? Not even been wrestling for a year.
Right. Right, but to me, you see that on paper, maybe you don't know who he is, but for me as an AIW fan and seeing what Sam has done in AIW, I think even if you don't know him, when those two stand across from each other on Saturday night, I feel like it's going to be, everyone should take a look at that and just kind of, this is going to be a good one. Two big dudes, Sam, a guy who's extremely hungry, looking for a chance to prove himself even bigger than he has in the past. And Matt Cardona, a guy who's no slouch, he's not going to come in here and let some new kid that nobody even knows about beat him. So you know what I mean? He's gonna have something to prove as well.
Yeah, Sam Holloway is what you would call a blue chip prospect, no doubt. I mean, 22 years old. At least 6'5", right? Like, I mean, I don't know what his exact measurements are. 6'5", 6'6". Probably I don't know, 250, 260, moves well, moves really good for somebody his size, young, hungry. I don't know if you saw the tweet the night of the Cybernetico, but Matt Cardona said something like, "You look like you're from the WCW power plant." And Sam Holloway responded, he's like, "I don't even know what that means. I was born in 2001.
There's a lot that goes over his head wrestling-wise sometimes. But he really,
I assure you, probably doesn't even know what WCW was. Like, it did not exist in his lifetime. You know what I mean? Which is crazy, but that just goes to kind of show the youth that we're putting on the table this Saturday. Huge test, obviously, for Sam, but stranger things have happened, and I certainly think that there's, without a doubt, Sam Holloway is going to open people's eyes on Saturday, one way or the other.
Absolutely. Anything else you want to say on those matches? When we got the Gauntlet for Gold match as well. That's will be the final match of the night. But anything else, on the title matches? Anything else we didn't
really? And I mean,
cover?
There's not, like I said, we kind of already covered the Gauntlet at the top of the show anyway. There's, the injuries obviously forced us to do a little bit more, a little changes and, come up with new plans. And, we had to have kind of an emergency meeting over the weekend. And I think I think we came up with a really great plan. Obviously you got to change a lot of things. You know what I mean? Not just the Gauntlet, but you got to look at the undercard, and there's changes that needed to be made. And I think that what we came up with, I think if you were an AIW fan, and that's the thing is, like, we don't really try to pander or play to the national audience or conversation. You know what I mean? We always try to establish our own people, our own crew, our own stories. Like, we'll bring people in and things like that. But when it comes to, what I mean, the meat and potatoes of AIW, it's always about growing and establishing from within. So, like, maybe as a whole, what I mean, if you look at the streaming world or whatever, I don't know how this show plays, but to the AIW audience, I think the show plays really well. I think if you're an AIW fan that just follows from afar, or you haven't come in a while, I think this is the show that you should make your return to on Saturday night. This is for AIW fans. You know what I mean? Nobody else. Maybe that's wrong. I don't know. Maybe it's right. It certainly isn't the most profitable way of doing things at times. But I think that this show is really going to be for the true blue AIW faithful fans that follow us, know the players, know the characters, know what we're trying to do, and like watching the growth of the talent from the Academy. It's not like I said, it's not the most sensational business plan. It's not going to get us the most retweets or GIFs or anything like that, but it's what we need to do, and it's what I like to do. I don't like to cater to that big conversation. I think booking the best wrestlers against each other is easy. I think it's a lot harder and takes a lot more skill to make people care about people they don't know and they've never heard of before. that's what I like about, being a wrestling promoter, wrestling booker, whatever you want to call it. I think, there's a lot of just laziness across the board in independent wrestling. And I understand it makes money, you know what I mean, and all that. Maybe that's why I'm always on this podcast complaining about the financial situation of AIW. But, I just can't make that change. You know what I mean? Like, I can't just do death matches for death matches. Like, I think that's just hack bullshit. You know what I mean? Like, it's easy, but it leads nowhere. And it goes nowhere, and nobody remembers half the shit that happens. To me, I want to cater to, the people that come all the time, Cadens, the Charlie Butters, the Justin Summers, the Stacys, the Pams, you know what I mean? The list goes on and on and on. Paul, Trombetta, you know what I mean?
Trombetta, yeah. So say, don't forget the pharmacist.
There's so many names, you know what I mean, that you can't name it off. But those are the people that we're doing these shows for, you know what I mean? And I think Saturday is going to be a perfect example of that.
To me, it's you look around at wrestling as a whole, and I just saw this the other day. There was a big card, and it was like a 12-match card, and it's just a lot of big names against other big names. But to me, it's like, okay, maybe they'll go out there and they'll have a great match that you'll talk about that night, but you're probably not going to remember it or talk about it 5 weeks from now, let alone 6 months from now. AIW is putting out wrestling and producing wrestling stories and reasons that people should be having these matches. If you look at this card, as we just kind of laid out for the last 45 minutes, almost every match on the card has a reason that it's happening. There is something that happened previously, or a reason that they're fighting each other, or a reason that there's a title shot, or this or that. To me, a lot of AIW fans and the wrestling fans that come to our shows and pay attention to us from afar, this or that, are interested in these stories and watching these characters and, grow and develop and having a reason, and not just, 10 matches against, 10 matches, whatever. To me, AIW is the epitome of, why is this happening? What's the story? There's a reason it's all going down.
And there are reasons, you know what I mean, to bring in the outside stars or what, you know what I mean? There's purposes and reasons, and I'm not discounting that either, but I'm saying... No. To have a whole show of it, I don't think it takes much skill to book that way, and maybe people are gonna, rake me over the coals for saying all that, but that's just how I feel. I feel that there's reasons to bring in the national stars or the national indie stars, and there's ways to make it all make sense, and but just to do matches for matches and. To me, it's just not, I don't know, you know what I mean? Like, it's just, Dom will get so frustrated with me because I'll be like, okay, give me a blueprint. And then he'll give me a blueprint and I'll say, we can't do that because of this, can't do that because of this, can't do that because of this, can't bring this person in because it doesn't make any sense. This person's really expensive and it's not going to add anything to this person going forward, and like, it's just the way my brain works. I don't know, and obviously, we're not the number one indie or even close to it, and which is fine because I just want to. But it's fine, I just want, I want to have our little, corner of the world in Northeast Ohio, and that's just the way I want to do it. You know what I mean? Like.
To me, the Jocelyn match, Jocelyn Navarro versus Mayu Yamashita, is a perfect example of that, though, because that is a national name, a big name you're bringing in, but it's still for a reason. There's still a reason that it's happening. Maybe those two don't have any personal history together, but the idea of Jocelyn in AIW, like you said, she's the cornerstone. She's the the measuring stick of AIW. Now you bring in somebody, even if they don't have necessarily history, that big name, there's a reason she's wrestling a big name now. You know what I mean? And it adds value to that. It adds, intrigue in my book because
it adds value to the show. It adds value to her body of work. It adds value to her skill set. You know what I mean? Like,
yes.
We're investing in our people. You know what I mean? For right or wrong, like we're investing in our people and our products, and obviously sometimes you have the student versus the student situation, but we try to bring people in to elevate our people from within, you know, like teach them something, you know, like look at, you know, like here, like we brought Effie in to work with TKD, you know what I mean? Like in Akron last year, you know, like stuff like that, you know what I mean? To where like, if you look kind of throughout history, if you can find those history books that Matt Wadsworth has that I mentioned earlier, you know, you can find a lot of examples of you know, the national star coming in and helping elevate and teach. And, you know, I don't know, maybe AIW is just a developmental system for indie wrestling. I don't know. I don't really know what it is, but I just think it does the business a disservice to just book matches for matches, and it does people's careers a disservice to do matches for matches. And, you know, obviously once you get to a point, you know, people just want to see that, you know, great talent versus great talent. I'm not discounting that either, but I'm saying it, for this area, it is not a sustainable business plan for us, you know, and I think, you know, just look at, you know, we had to get together and kind of rebook everything 1 week out, you know what I mean, based on injuries and things that we were counting on falling through and all kinds of stuff. But I think that the show is arguably better than the original way it was supposed to go, you know, and I think that we kind of were able to peel back and go, okay, we're going to do this, this, and this because, you know, I know that Trombetta is going to pop for that. You know what I mean? Or, you know, even somebody like a Pod Van Ed, you know what I mean? Whether he comes or not, you know, like little things like that.
That piece of
shit. And I think, you know, I think that there's value in that going forward, and there's equity in that going forward.
Yeah. Speaking of injuries, we did open up the questions to our AIW Discord. If you are not in the Discord and you'd like to be, join the AIW Patreon. $5 a month gets you in that Discord for life. A lot of stuff going on in there. But Ed Batts, Old Man Ed, asking any updates on the injuries of Eric Taylor and, as he calls him, my bestie, Isaiah Broner.
Broner, nothing. I think it's going to be, like I said, no change into probably midsummer, I would think, you know, just to play it safe. Even if he comes back earlier than that, I don't certainly want to rush it. And at this point, it's like, let's get through Absolution, and then we'll work you back in when we know that you're 100%. As far as Eric Taylor, it was no broken bones, but it was an issue with tendons, the muscles, and ligaments.
Oh. So as somebody who has had severe leg trauma with that and ankles and a lot of stuff like that, man, they say a lot of times that a break is almost better sometimes because they cast it, the bone heals, it has its time of healing. A lot of times with the ligaments and tendons, stuff like that could be worse because it's very easy to kind of like tweak it or something. If you go a little bit too hard in the rehab, it's very easy to set yourself back. So that way they say that a lot of those injuries are a lot harder to deal with, unfortunately.
Right. So, and then he just said, you know, he was told, because he did have, you know, an appointment last week, I guess. And he was told it's going to require lengthy rehab and rest.
Jeez.
He did not give me a timetable, which I kind of just, you know, I didn't want to push him for one either.
Sure. Yeah. Next couple questions. Jose asking, when will the first couple of J-Lit talent be announced? Do you have any plans to start, you know, dripping out some of the talent for J-Lit?
We're kind of slowly working on that. Trying to get some, you know, that's kind of like the next thing that we're really working on. Because, you know, we do have Absolution, which the date was announced to Patreon, which, you know, I can break here. It's going to be July 15th at the Tadmor Shrine in Akron. More details on that and, special meet and greets coming in the coming days that we were able to secure. And then we did get confirmed for the Bill Alfonso Hardcore Tournament again this year in Ashtabula. So we're kind of, working on getting everything sorted for that. And then, we're also kind of working on JLIT, which we are pushing JLIT out into September this year. So we do have a few months to lock that in. We're just really trying to figure out, you know what I mean, because we are going to do it at the temple. If we want to go a la carte for tickets or passes, because we do know that the high ticket price does impact the fees. Mm-hmm. So we have to kind of have a little bit of a meeting on that to really kind of sort out what we want to do. There were a few ideas of doing JLIT night 1 and night 2 at the temple, and then if we did fresh meat, taking the other ring and doing it at a different venue, to kind of space things out and make it a little bit more financially viable for people. Or we may do all 3 at the temple and go a la carte on everything with no passes. Again, sound off on what you think in the Discord or on Twitter. These are just kind of things that we're dealing with right now. I've reached out to some people about JLIT, have not secured anybody officially yet. I'll say that.
Okay. Michelle asked, Chell Bell Photography asked, was Carlito planned prior to Backlash? Or was that something you saw the pop at Backlash and kind of figure? I know we had another guest booked for that had to cancel, so you kind of had to scramble. Was that something you had like a name on the back burner?
No,
and then
it wasn't. It wasn't, and we certainly paid for it. I'll say that.
Oh, I'm sure.
But we did have somebody else, which I won't say because we will circle back to it. We had somebody that I thought was like going to be huge and perfect that had to pull out last second. So I had reached out to a few different people and didn't hear back, or they weren't available. And I saw the Backlash thing, and like a few days later, a Carlito post showed up in my feed, and then I was like, you know what? I'm going to find this guy's contact info. And I reached out, and he said he was available, and we worked out a deal. He will only be appearing at AIW, though. He will not be at Toy Ohio. So for people that are kind of, planning their day out, go to Toy Ohio, meet all the people there at Toy Ohio, then come to AIW, meet Carlito. But yeah, unfortunately, it was not planned previously because we had that other thing lined up, and then I've been kind of scrambling to try to find somebody. Mm-hmm. And then just kind of, the Backlash thing put it in my head, and then, you struck while the iron was hot, so to speak.
Sure. Scott Random wants to know, Bogside Pub, is that slated kind of for the after party? Do we have anything set for Saturday? Steve Guy, where you at? What you doing?
I have not heard a thing. I don't think we're going there. I have not heard anything though. So maybe no official after party. Steve is out of town, so I don't even know.
He's in like Denver or something.
But haven't heard anything. I know that the Razor Man has tried to set up some stuff there at times. Maybe we'll stay at the old Four Sports Bar for a little bit. I don't know.
Sure.
We'll see what happens. But nothing official, unfortunately. The after party stuff has just been really kind of fallen. You know what I mean? Fallen to the wayside, unfortunately. We still got to find a new place in Akron. We've never found anywhere. I think that we're going to try to do Dive Bar whenever we're at the temple. But last time Bogside Pub didn't honor the deal. So I don't think we're going back there.
Fair enough.
But I haven't heard, like Steve's all over the place. That I haven't really heard too much from him. Maybe EVP Jimmy, or I know the Razor Man had spoken to some bars out that way. Maybe they can pull something off last minute this week.
In Razor Man, we trust. EVP of Health, Jeremy asks, did Matt Justice's injuries kind of change any plans for him you had in AIW?
No, not really. He's been getting a lot of different dates. So, he's just kind of all over the place right now. It was just kind of coincidental, I'll say that.
Okay. Anything else you got? That's kind of what I got for questions. Anything else you want to hit?
No, I just hope that I really hope that we can push huge on tickets this week. I rambled maybe a little more than I should have, but I really do believe in this card Saturday. I believe in our crew. I believe in everything that we're doing, and I think that it justifies a big crowd coming out Saturday night. You got 2 great meet and greets on top of, what I think is going to be a really almost undercover shocking card, topped off with the Gauntlet, which I know if you're an AEW fan, everybody looks forward to the Gauntlet. This year should be no different. We have a lot of cool plans that are going to set the tone going forward after Saturday night. Okay.
So yeah, make sure you get out to the 4 Sports in Eastlake, Ohio this Saturday. First bell time 7:30. Doors typically like 6:30 usually. So if you're trying to walk up, make sure you want to get there early because, like I said, only a handful of premium seats left. You want to get those before Saturday, and then come on out to 4 Sports in Eastlake, Ohio. If you were unfortunately able to make it, you're not in the Ohio area, we will be streaming on Fight TV, Fight Plus. It's like $5 a month, something like that. Or did they raise it? It got raised, didn't it?
It's $7.99.
$7.99. Okay, $7.99 a month. But still, that's pretty friggin' good. Some live shows $8 just for the live show. Then you get they've been adding AIW archives, as you just said. They just put up Cybernetico. The Cybernetico show just got put up. Definitely something to check out.
Gauntlet from last year, they just put that up on Friday night. That's now on there, so you can relive Gauntlet for the Gold 15 from last year now on Fight Plus to get ready for this Saturday.
There you go.
And there's more. There's a bunch more 2022 titles that are going up in the coming weeks on Fight Plus as well, and then we're going to start working our way. I figured like working backwards was the best way, you know what I mean? Like, so we're going to get the rest of 2022 up there. We're going to start going through 2021. So we're kind of going to go in reverse order. We're going to eventually put together some compilation titles and different things as well. Once we kind of get into those early years, I don't know how many full titles we're going to put up. There's, the quality's bad. Some of the language of the times is bad. You know what I mean? So we may just kind of cherry pick the best of that time period, so to speak. Once we start getting down to those super early 2000s AIW cards.
Yes. All right. Well, for myself and AIW owner John Thorne, we'll see you guys Saturday. Come on out, 4 Sports, AIW's Gauntlet for the Gold. We'll see you on Saturday. Thanks.